room. This is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
The Indiana Fevers versus Connecticut Sun game was supposed to be just another survival test, but it quickly turned into something more dramatic halfway through the second quarter. Sophie Cunningham went down screaming after a knee-on-knee collision. That stunned the crowd. No foul was called, and fans erupted in anger, pointing to a disturbing trend of reckless hits targeting Fever players. All season long, Cunningham's family even expressed their outrage online, criticizing the officiating for failing to protect athletes. With Caitlin Clark already sidelined and the roster devoid of true point guards, Indiana appeared destined for another defeat. But the game turned into a display of resiliency. Odyssey Sims stabilized the backcourt. Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, and Lexie Hull made the game-ending dagger three in overtime, sealing a stunning 9,993 comeback victory, the largest in franchise history.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hull three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana,
7 on the shot clock, 25 seconds in regulation.
they gotta get to the rim.
Charles has to hoist and connects. Wow. The Indiana Fever prove their resiliency.
Fever down! Head up in the chest. Yeah.
And Sophie Cunningham collapsed, clutching her knee in obvious pain. It appeared that Indiana's season had reached its lowest point. Caitlin Clark, Sydney Colson, and Ari McDonald had already entered the game without a true point guard, and Cunningham's injury further stripped them, leaving the roster paper thin. However, what transpired defied all expectations, driven by rage and sheer willpower. Kelsey Mitchell gave her best performance ever, scoring 38 points, 34 of which came after halftime, including 10. In overtime, Odyssey Sims, who had signed a hardship deal, gave Indiana the poise of a veteran floor general, and Aaliyah Boston owned the glass with a record-setting double-double, while Lexie Hull provided a final point with a clutch corner three from a deficit of 21 points. The Fever rallied to defeat Connecticut 99-93 in overtime. And this wasn't just a victory, it was evidence of Indiana's unwavering will.
Phoenix, it was a quick turnaround to figure out, how we're going to play without, Ari and Sid. And now we got to figure out how we're going to play without Soph. And we've got to figure out, who can play in certain roles. What are our substitution patterns going to be? What kind of wrinkles can we throw out there? It doesn't get easier. And I think we come back and have Minnesota twice, right? So it's really good mentally, physically, and emotionally for us. And then it gives us practice time.
The image of Sophie Cunningham writhing on the floor sent shockwaves through the arena. A vicious knee collision left her unable to continue, and frustration erupted as officials refused to call a foul where most teams would have folded. Indiana found fire in the chaos, and Kelsey Mitchell turned the second half into her stage, scoring 38 points in one of the season's best scoring displays. Odyssey Sims, who was put into action on hardship contract, ran the offense with poise. Aaliyah Boston's 15th double-double anchored the defense, and Lexie Hull's cold-blooded three in overtime sealed the upset. The 99-93 victory wasn't just survival, it was a Fever rewriting their identity as a team that doesn't back down.
Got Sophie Cunningham writhing around in pain, definitely hurt, and Sophie's one tough cookie. If Sophie's kicking and screaming like this, no Will Farrell. She's in pain. We even have Connecticut Sun players. Look at that. Connecticut Sun players, Connecticut Sun training staff coming up to her as the Fever starts making their way down.
Fever season has been characterized by adversity, but against Connecticut, it almost became intolerable. Already lacking 3-point guards, Indiana watched Sophie Cunningham collapse after a terrifying knee collision that silenced the crowd. There was no whistle, no protection, just another injury to a team already on fumes. But instead of giving up, the Fever responded with grit that turned despair into history. Odyssey Sims steadied the offense with 19 points and veteran decision-making, while Aaliyah Boston's 15th double-double gave Indiana the toughness it needed inside. Finally, Lexie Hull buried the corner three that crushed the Suns' hopes in overtime. The 99-93 victory wasn't just about surviving. It was about proving that Indiana's heart is bigger than any roster hole.
Every day,
our huddle, that's what we say
Yeah.
together. And it's just more than words for us. I think when
really is.
you see things happening, there's no other way. If you spread apart, the season goes down quicker than anything else. And we talk about with the injuries, people are probably expecting us to just fold, just like you said, and that's not us. We come in the locker room and we're motivated. We continue to be motivated every single time we step on that floor. At halftime, we're motivated, chip away, and that's our mindset. And just continue to uplift people. When one person goes down, we say it all the time, the next woman stands up. And that's really just been our motto and been what we've had to do a lot this season, and that's what we're just going to continue to do.
With Caitlin Clark still out and no true point guard available, it looked like Indiana was doomed. However, resilience is ingrained in this team's DNA. Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points, including clutch baskets that erased Connecticut's lead, Odyssey Sims, who signed a hardship contract. Looked like a seasoned veteran, controlling the tempo and breaking the Suns' pressure. Leah Boston fought her way to a historic double-double, and Lexie Hull's late three-pointers sealed the Fever's unlikely 9,993 overtime victory. At one point, Indiana was down 21 points, but they rallied to shock everyone.
She magically lower her shoulder into Sophie Cunningham's legs. Can somebody please explain that to me? Can somebody please explain those physics again? Don't want to hear it, because this is a
The Indiana Fever went into their game against the Connecticut Sun injured, bruised, and shorthanded. They had already lost Caitlin Clark, and their best point guards after Sophie Cunningham went down after a knee-to-knee collision that left her screaming in agony. The lack of foul call infuriated fans. But instead of disintegrating, the Fever rallied behind Kelsey Mitchell, who scored a masterpiece 38 points, almost all of which came in the second half. An overtime Odyssey Sims was the unexpected stabilizer, while Leah Boston hammered the boards with her 15th double-double. And just when Connecticut believed they had survived, Lexie Hull made a dagger. Three of the Fever's greatest comeback ever silenced any doubt about their battle.
Do you have an update on this? Yeah. Yeah, MRI tomorrow.
Sorry, just quickly on something. What's going through your mind when you see her down like that and you're jogging over there?
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, it especially the way that she fell and, how she was holding herself and how much pain she was in. At the time, it's like crap. And then you go down there and you see her and it's like, okay, just want her to calm down and be able to read.
The moment echoed Caitlin Clark's previous injury scare and reignited anger at the league's lack of player protection. But instead of spiraling out of control, the Fever found another gear. Kelsey Mitchell took center stage with an unforgettable 38-point outburst, pulling her team back from a 21-point deficit Odyssey. Sims added a hardship deal, which provided calm leadership in dire circumstances. Aaliyah Boston controlled the paint, securing her 15th double-double, while Lexie Hull delivered the knockout blow with a clutch corner three. Their 99-93 overtime victory wasn't just a comeback. It was a declaration that Indiana's heart is bigger than its injuries. In spite of all odds, the Fever proved why you never count them out.
Cunningham is down. My goodness. Scary moment as we went to commercial. Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker.
The entire arena froze when Sophie Cunningham's knee collided violently with an opponent. The guard screamed in pain, and the fact that there was no foul left her teammates and fans furious. However, what happened next was a masterclass in resilience. After halftime, Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points with cold-blooded precision. Odyssey Sims, who was brought on a hardship contract, steadied the backcourt with veteran composure, while Aaliyah Boston recorded another incredible double-double. The Fever rallied from a 21-point deficit to force overtime, where Lexie Hull drained a dagger from the corner to seal a historic 99-93 victory. This was the biggest comeback in the team's history, but more importantly, it served as a reminder of Indiana's tenacity.
Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control. Looked out of control to me. Maybe you should focus her sister Maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham coming out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the
The story seemed written Indiana was shorthanded and down big, was about to collapse again when Sophie Cunningham went down in agony, and her knee was wrecked in a collision that drew no whistle. Outrage erupted, especially online, where Cunningham's family demanded accountability, with Caitlin Clark and several guards already out the fever looked to be done. But instead, Indiana put on a show that would last a lifetime. Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points in her most thrilling performance, but Odyssey Sims looked like the floor general Indiana had been missing all season, adding 19 crucial points. When overtime arrived, Lexie, Hull's corner three brought the game to a close.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. You never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
Heartbreak became history for the Fever when Sophie Cunningham suffered a devastating knee injury that left Indiana shorthanded. Once more, no foul was called, which infuriated fans and sparked discussions about careless hits directed at Fever players. However, the setback only served to fuel a fire that Connecticut couldn't put out. Kelsey Mitchell gave performance of a lifetime, scoring 38 points after halftime and killing in overtime. Odyssey Sims, who was signed out of necessity, steadied the backcourt with fearless play, while Leah Boston anchored both ends with another double-double, and Lexie Hull sealed the unlikely 99-93 overtime victory with a clutch triple. At one point behind 21 points, Indiana rallied for the biggest comeback in franchise history.
Kelsey Mitchell has a new career high. Backdoor Mitchell bouncing in the paint for two. Kelsey Mitchell, the big is snatched up. Mitchell squeezing through for two in the fall. Fouls on the other end. It's Mitchell launching it.
Sophie Cunningham went down after a violent knee collision that left her screaming in pain, but officials refused to blow the whistle. The Fever already looked broken, but they rewrote their fate. Odyssey Sims, who had signed a hardship deal, became the steady hand Indiana desperately needed, adding 19 points and flawless execution. In crunch time, Aaliyah Boston imposed her will in the paint, recording her 15th double-double, and Lexie Hull buried the game-winning three in overtime from 21 points down to a 99-93 overtime victory. Indiana pulled off the biggest comeback in franchise history.
Your New England Ford dealers and the Ford Bronco family goat modes, the official SUVs of the Connecticut Sun. Mitchell connects.
Reading the defense. And reckless closeout, so you have to make sure you let the shooter land here. Landing space needs to happen. Looks like Mitchell also clutching her leg here as well.
Record close-up review. If it is, it's going to be strike one. Okay, go take one in.
When Sophie Cunningham collapsed to the ground, clutching her knee, fans feared the worst of collision appeared brutal. And the fact that there was no foul call infuriated the Fever supporters. Aaliyah Boston once again dominated the glass with a statement double-double, and Odyssey Sims steadied the offense with poise beyond her brief tenure. But then came a comeback that nobody saw coming. Kelsey Mitchell lit up the court with a stunning 38 points. 34, which came after halftime. At one point, Lexie Hull drained a dagger three in overtime, burying the Sun down 21 points. This was Indiana's biggest comeback ever, and it was more than just a victory.
Your second half, you did 34 of your flights just
Damn!
the last halftime. What's over you? How did you get it done on the floor?
I think it was more about what we did from a standpoint of like the mindset and the mentality. From half to half, it sucked for me. First half, it just wasn't, and I think that, it wasn't as well for our group, but the resiliency is true in our room. Seeing Soph go down and then knowing what happened with Sid and knowing what happened with Ari, and then knowing what happened with Cece, it's like, I think a lot of it was just God and being able to like stay prepared and stay in your mental state to be able to compete. But I really think that that's the most resilient that we've ever been because of everything we've been through. So I think a lot of it you just tap into your team and you just love on your team. And I think, great things can happen.
The Fever's matchup with Connecticut was their biggest test of the season, but Sophie Cunningham's agonizing knee injury threatened to ruin them entirely, especially with Caitlin Clark, and 3-point guards already out the official silence only made things worse. But instead of collapsing, Indiana pulled off the biggest comeback of the year. Kelsey Mitchell became an unstoppable force, scoring 38 points with brutal precision Odyssey Sims brought. Order to the chaos, proving invaluable with 19 points. And steady leadership, Aaliyah Boston recorded her 15th double-double, controlling the paint on both ends, and Lexie Hull's icy three-pointer in overtime completed the job. Indiana made history with their biggest comeback ever. This wasn't just about surviving, it was about proving their toughness on the biggest stage.
I don't even think there are any words. I mean, when you look at Kelsey's play and you look at what she means to the squad, coming out of that second half and going off the way that she did, I think it kind of speaks for her case in general. She comes out, she defends, she scores the ball, she plays 40 minutes a game, and it's just like, and she still consistently puts up these numbers. I feel like she's not MVP. Shoot,
MVP is crazy. I don't even thought about that.
Sophie Cunningham's season seemed to be over when she collapsed from a knee-to-knee collision that left fans furious. Without Caitlin Clark and their depth at point guard, the Fever appeared to be done. But Kelsey Mitchell refused to let it end that way. She scored 38 points, carrying the team on her shoulders. Odyssey Sims, who was signed to fill a roster gap, played like a veteran leader, dropping 19 points. And running the offense flawlessly, Aaliyah Boston held down the interior with her 15th double-double, and Lexie Hull iced the game in overtime with a clutch triple. What seemed like disaster turned into victory as Indiana rallied back from a 21-point deficit to defeat Connecticut 99-93, completing the biggest comeback in franchise history and demonstrating that their resilience knows no bounds.
In a low stance defensively, matched up with Mitchell, fires up a three. Kelsey Mitchell! Oh my! Mitchell comes back for it with 8.
Great pass.
Sims, up fake, back out, Mitchell. Got Rivers in the air, Kelsey Mitchell again! You betcha! Wow!
Aaliyah Boston muscled her way to another commanding double-double. Caitlin Clark and 3-point guards were already down, and Indiana suffered another blow when Sophie Cunningham went down in agony after knee collision. The crowd erupted in outrage at the official silence. But what happened next changed the course of events. Odyssey Sims stabilized the backcourt, providing both leadership and scoring, and Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points in one of the most explosive performances of the season. In overtime, it was Lexie Hull who delivered the dagger, draining a clutch 3 to silence the Sun. Indiana's biggest comeback in franchise history turned from a 21-point deficit to a 9,993 victory.
We will never be counted out because that is worth gold. That is worth gold. Kels, God damn baby. Put us on your back. Oh, big time.
The Indiana Fever, already shorthanded without Caitlin Clark, were rocked when Sophie Cunningham collapsed after a vicious knee-to-knee collision. The official silence on the play infuriated the fans, but instead of caving in, Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points, almost all of which came after halftime, demonstrating her ability to take over a game. Odyssey Sims, who had signed a hardship deal, played like a seasoned veteran, scoring 19 points and stabilizing the backcourt. Aaliyah Boston was a powerhouse inside, recording her 15th double-double, and Lexie Hull made a corner 3 to seal the deal. The Fever were down 21 points when they rallied to defeat Connecticut 99-93 in overtime.
Avery knifes off the screen. Charles is doubled.
And Indiana looks like they're in a zone right now.
Kick out and stolen by Mitchell. Explodes 2-on-1. Sims elevates for 2 and a foul.
Bug with their point guards. This is where you have Odyssey Sims coming in. Kelsey Mitchell making a great heads-up play here, but Odyssey Sims has done a great job early on coming in.
Aaliyah Boston secured her 15th double-double, controlling the paint with force, and Lexie Hull made a game-winning 3 What appeared to be another blowout loss turned into a 9,993 overtime victory, and Indiana's message was clear: no matter the adversity, their fight burns brighter than ever. The Indiana Fever's resilience was never more evident than in their matchup against Connecticut, where they lost. Several guards and Caitlin Clark, their depth was tested once more when Sophie Cunningham suffered a devastating knee injury in a collision that drew no foul. But instead, Kelsey Mitchell became unstoppable, torching the Sun with 38 points, including clutch buckets in overtime odyssey. Sims proved to be the unexpected hero, bringing calm and leadership in only her second game with Indiana.
Picks up the dribble. Shot clock winding down to 7. Mabry, lob pass. Charles catches. No foul call. That's a huge no call. Looks for cutters. Charles the defense. Back on to Boston. Tina Charles. Backdoor Mitchell. Bouncing in the paint for 2. 30 points for Mitchell. That's the 4th on Charles.
Can't get caught ball watching right there. Great recognition by Boston as Mitchell makes that backdoor cut.
And Sophie Cunningham went down screaming after knee collision that wasn't even called a foul. The Fever's night appeared to be over for a team already struggling with injuries. However, what followed was pure grit as Kelsey Mitchell ignited the offense, scoring 38 points in a scoring clinic that electrified fans' odyssey. Sims, a late roster addition, gave the Fever exactly what they needed in terms of composure, timely buckets, and leadership. Aaliyah Boston added her 15th double-double, controlling the boards and anchoring the defense. When overtime arrived, Lexie Hull made a corner 3 to seal the unlikely comeback. Indiana achieved the biggest turnaround in franchise history, going from trailing by 21 points to celebrating a 99-93 overtime victory. It wasn't just a win, it was evidence of the team's heart and determination.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hull three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana's just...
It was supposed to be the game-ending moment when Sophie Cunningham collapsed in agony following a knee-to-knee collision. However, no foul was called, and the Fever were already without Caitlin Clark and their best guards. With her relentless scoring, Kelsey Mitchell scored 38 points, igniting a comeback that few thought was possible. Odyssey Sims took over, providing the team with veteran savvy and crucial baskets, while Leah Boston dominated the paint, recording her 15th double-double, and Lexie Hull's three-pointer in overtime put Connecticut out of the game. The Fever's 99-93 victory wasn't just a win, it was history's largest comeback ever. A night that started with pain, ended with triumph, demonstrating once again that Indiana's greatest asset is their unwavering resilience.
Circles back. Howard, assertive, 2 and the foul. Fever fans have come alive and a chance to make this a one-possession game. What?
The Fever's matchup with the Sun will be remembered for years. The game took a dark turn when Sophie Cunningham fell hard after a violent knee collision, writhing in pain as officials refused to blow the whistle. With Caitlin Clark and others already sidelined, Indiana faced a 21-point deficit and a likely defeat. But Kelsey Mitchell refused to let the story end there. She turned the game into her personal stage, exploding for 38 points, while Odyssey Sims, who had just signed, showed unwavering leadership. And poised, Aaliyah Boston dominated the boards with her 15th double-double. And in overtime, Lexie Hull made history by making the biggest rally in the team's history.
You are the consummate professional. We love you. We appreciate you. You are huge. Maybe point forward. And like, look, you can't underestimate what it means to have somebody like her who just does whatever we ask, right? Does whatever. I mean, everybody really. Lex, that was a huge. Toss your activity all night long.
Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, recording her 15th double-double, and Lexie Hull sealed the victory in overtime with a dagger 3. The 99-93 victory wasn't just a win. It was the biggest comeback in the history of the Indiana Fever. Sophie Cunningham's painful knee collision, which was disregarded by officials, left fans furious, and the team shorthanded once more with Caitlin Clark already out by 21 points.
That's what it's going to take. Okay, that's what it's going to take. We got to play 3. We got to play with no pressure, but we fight. Live that resilience every day, and we will accomplish what we want to accomplish. Okay, come on.
Here we go. Let's go. 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
On a night when the Fever made history, Sophie Cunningham went down in pain following a vicious knee-to-knee collision, but no whistle was blown Caitlin Clark, and several guards were already missing, and Indiana appeared to be doomed as the deficit increased to 21 points. But Kelsey Mitchell had other ideas with 38 points, including clutch overtime baskets. She carried the team like a true star. Odyssey Sim stepped up with 19 points, displaying poise that belied her short time with the Team Aaliyah. Boston intimidated the interior with her 15th double-double, while Lexie Hull's corner 3 sealed the overtime thriller. In the end, Indiana stunned Connecticut 99-93, delivering the biggest comeback in the franchise's history. This wasn't just about surviving, it was proof that no amount of hardship could ever defeat a team that is built on heart and unwavering determination.